We are back on the InfoWars Nightly News, and we're going to deal now with an issue that is so important for the future of humanity. It is so central to the reason this country was founded, the basic ideas of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, of religious freedom, of being an individual in an age when we've been conditioned to accept technology creeping up on us. We're always wowed and amazed and wooed by the new cool things technology can do, and we're always just trained to ignore the fact that it's converging on a point of tracking us in a total control grid. Every piece of technology is leading up to this. It's integrating. This kind of technology started with the adoption of social security numbers and other IDs, but it is now at the point of total high tech. It's being pushed on school kids, other vulnerable groups, people who haven't reached the age of consent, who don't yet have the wisdom to say no to this. But one family is saying no. We need so many more families to join them in that fight. We are joined now by the Hernandez family. They're in San Antonio saying no to the school that wants them to mandatorily wear an ID badge with an RFID tracker inside of it. Thanks for joining us. Steve, the father, Andrea at school there, and John Jay, and of course your son as well. Thanks for coming in.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So tell us about the specific program that's being introduced and some of the major issues going on in San Antonio, which, by the way, is being rolled out all across Texas and all across the nation. Right now, it's kind of in tester beta programs, but they want to expand it. So.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. This program is being implemented at John Jay High School and Anson Jones Middle School, the only two schools with the lowest attendance rate in the city. They're putting RFID tracking chips in their kids' badges. They want to make it mandatory, and they want to make the rest of the school district pick it up. And there's 112 schools in that school district.
So they're starting with 2, but it's going to 112 schools.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Just in San Antonio.
Just in San Antonio, just in the NISD school district. They're making it mandatory that the kids have to wear it. If not, they cannot participate in certain programs at school. They cannot get their lunch or check out library books if they don't wear these badges. And we stood up and said, no, absolutely not, because we felt like it stepped on our religious freedom.
Right.
And when we got back into town, we got this letter from the NISD board saying that on August 10th, that this is when this letter was dated, that the kids would start wearing these badges, and they sent it out really close to the day that the kids had to go get their badges and register for school, because they didn't want any arguments. They didn't want anybody to resist it. But unfortunately for them, I resisted. And I went on my local news station. I said, no, my daughter will not wear this badge. They had already done a story and said, hey, we want to talk to you more about it. And now we are here today with you on your show to speak more about this.
And we do have a clip from that news piece. So let's go to that right now, and then we'll come back and enlarge the discussion.
Starting tomorrow, about 4,000 students at John Jay High School and Anson Jones Middle School must wear a new and controversial photo ID called the Radio Frequency Identification System. It tracks students while they're on campus. Some call it a spy chip. Andrea says many students just won't wear it.
I know that there's kids who will, hey man, can you hold this? I'm going to go across the street to go get tacos.
She said others might stick it in a locker to avoid monitoring.
That NISD is a school district and not a government.
And so there is that. There's, of course, more up on the websites. But, Steve, Andrea, what's been the reaction to that news piece, and what are people saying about the fact that you don't want to go along with the system?
A lot of people are just like, oh, you're just whining, oh, you're just complaining, you just want for the attention. I was like, no, this is, this is wrong. Northside does not have the right to do this to us. And they're just like, oh, just wear the badge, it's just a badge. I was like, no, this is a lot bigger than just a badge, and it's a lot more than that as well.
It really is. And Steve?
I had a guy at work actually tell me I was just exploiting this for my own benefit. I don't see how that could be, because I'm not getting paid for this. What am I exploiting? What I'm trying to exploit here is the injustice of this school district. This school district sits here and believes that they can mandate to parents and students and the teachers what they can and cannot do. I've been watching it for the last 7, 8 years that I've been back in San Antonio, and I've had to go up against the school district several times on different issues. They literally believe what they say is gold, it's solid, and you must do it. If not, you're done. You better do as asked.
They really want to usurp the rights of parents, among other things. But you've seen stories in the past few years, it's been leading up, different school districts across the country where they want you to thumbprint for a lunch, where you have to show some kind of RFID card, you know, to get a library book or something. Back in 1999, there were students in Louisiana in one town revolting against the fact they were made to wear badges with their social security number tied to a barcode. But this trumps all of that because this RFID code ties into your social security number, to your name, to your photo, and they want you to use this to buy your meals at school, to get the library books, all of it. It's all being integrated.
Yeah, absolutely. They say these chips can't be tracked except for inside the school, and Wade Garcia, who actually implemented all of this into both those schools, has come on radio publicly and said, hey, you know, we had to wait several years to get the previous superintendent out so that we get this new guy in there, and he'll go ahead and prove it. I mean, he's admitted to it, that this has been in plan for about the last 2 years, several years. So he also states that, hey, these things never shut off. They always emit a signal. And, you know, if they're always emitting a signal, that means anybody with an RFID tracker can actually pull up your information. Anybody with basic computer knowledge can actually pull this up.
Yeah, it's true. They're very easy to hack, and that means sexual predators are going to be hacking. That means lawless authorities, people abusing their power, are going to be hacking the systems, probably with a ready-to-go index of students and teachers and everyone else. It's total inventory control, open season for people who are predators, wolves, inside a system of people who are still sheeps, people who aren't grown up yet. It would be bad enough to do it to adults.
Absolutely. And what they don't seem to understand, they're stepping on civil liberties, religious freedom, and these children who aren't old enough to make decisions for their own, they're being conditioned and told, you have to do it this way. So what they're doing is taking the voices away from the children, away from the parents, away from even teachers. I know some teachers who are afraid to stand up because they don't want to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
They're taking away the voice of the people. But guess what? I'm here for the voice of the people, and even for those who disagree with me, I'm fighting for you, your children, your families, not just for my 2 children and my family. I'm fighting for every person out there. I've been misquoted several times saying that I said this is the mark of the beast and all this fun stuff. I didn't say it was the mark of the beast. I said this is how they condition the people. Okay, but there's a correlation there.
Oh, yeah.
Because in the Bible it says you can't buy, sell, you can't participate pretty much in the economy if you don't have the mark of the beast. But guess what? In that school, they're being told, hey, you can't buy your lunch unless you have this badge. You can't get your library books unless you have this badge. Sounds very similar to me.
It was extremely prescient, and people like to discount Bible prophecy, but it's so strongly worded. Everyone knows about that passage. You can read it if you want. How did they know that was coming? Doesn't matter. If it's just dictators, if it's just men on earth and not devils running things, they've still gone with the same plan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the Bible wasn't true, I wouldn't be sitting here today with you. That's just plain and simple. If it wasn't in there, it wasn't written. I was 5 years old when my parents started teaching me the Bible and taking me to church. Now imagine, if you will, 11 o'clock at night, you're 5 years old, you can barely keep your eyes open, your dad has you down on the carpet talking to you and reading you the Bible, and he starts talking about the mark of the beast, talking to you about these little chips they want to pin in you the size of a grain of rice. You don't know what to think. You're a child. But here I am, 42 years old, 37 years later, all of a sudden I find myself in the middle of it. Now, I'm in the middle of it, and I got to take care of my children. It is my responsibility as a parent to take care of my family, my wife, my son, my daughter. I have to stand up and protect them. And this is exactly what I'm doing today. I'm standing up to protect my wife and my children. And I'm not going to allow this to happen. We are not going to compromise our faith for NISD. We're not going to compromise for the government. We're just not going to do it.
Well, why will they make certain provisions for religious reasons for extreme minorities? And those people should have the right to their religious freedom. It's, you know, part of the tradition of this country, and it makes sense anyway. But why will they run wholesale over huge blocks of Christians and just completely ignore a very well-known provision? I mean, that is a line in the sand for so many people. The RFID chip, the mark of the beast, whatever you see it as, maybe some future technology still coming, but it's all headed in the same direction of control and really disrespect for human individuals.
Yeah, there is a disrespect, and the reason they run over the Christians because they know if they can squash the Christians and they can squash God's word, they can take over the world and do what they want to do. But unfortunately for them, the book has already been written.
Yeah.
God wins. okay, the Christian people win. So they can try as they might, but it's just not going to work out for them. You know, I would rather be on the side of the Lord and reap my rewards in heaven than reap my rewards here on earth. There's more to this. And I've had the opportunity to witness to people and talk to people the last several weeks, get people saved. I believe that God has chosen us to help to fight this. Mm-hmm. I mean, who would ever think? I went on television, my local news station, said, no, we're not going to do this. And here I am today, 2, 3 protests later, visits with the NISD. I have all kinds of organizations and people from around the world gathering behind us. Who would think one man stood up and made that big of a difference? And then, why did I stand up? Because my daughter told me, Dad, I'm not going to wear it. I am not going to wear it. And she's right. She doesn't have to. I mean, she can tell you things that has been going on in the school that the teachers have been telling the students about wearing the badge. It's absolutely absurd.
And you were talking earlier, Andrea, about how you're not a product. You've got an image on one of your binders at school about, I am not a product. But this is exactly what they're trying to do, is treat us as human cattle, as we're part of an inventory system. The way they're tracking boxes that come from Walmart and go to stores across the country and everything. Yeah. But we're human beings.
Exactly. And that's what Northside seems to forget. They think that we're just money, we're just cattle. They don't think of us as a person. They just think that, oh, they're just more money for our pocket. They're just more money for the budget. But they don't realize that, you know, yes, they have a budget and yes, they have money, but it's supposed to be for the students. It's supposed to be for the fine arts, for the athletics, for the teachers, not for their own personal gain.
Yeah, but they always seem to have funding for these high technology control systems, but, you know, then they have to cut the arts, they have to cut the sports programs. And
absolutely. You know, Northside just, oh, we don't have any money to do anything. We don't have any money for our teachers, so let's let go all of our teachers, but let's bring in these new chips. That kind of, you know, we're not supposed to have any money, but yet we have enough money for this tracking program. And then this is just the beginning, you know. There's 110 more schools that have to get this chip as well if we don't stop it here and now.
Yeah, and I want to talk specifically about fighting back, because it does make a big difference. On the RFID front, they've already moved to chip most pets in many cities, try to put forward the idea that's somehow mandatory. People have, on the other hand, fought back against that because the microchips have been found to cause cancer in pets and animals, and nobody wants to see that. Yeah. But the fact that people have protested against that issue has really hurt the main companies putting out the RFID technology. So they can suffer from us speaking back. It's a consumer issue, but it's also a rights issue. And parental rights, your rights as a member of a public school, that all factors into that. So let's talk about how we can fight back, and how do we get other people out there with you helping on this issue?
Well, what we've been trying to do, we actually go out and we talk with people and let people know. But, you know, people can go to spychips.com and read about it. Mm-hmm. All of our protests, all the pictures that we have up there are, you know, they're going there. We have videos. We actually have a video that was released of everybody talking to the NISD Board of Trustees. Mm-hmm. Karen Freeman from NISD said that, hey, you know, we can listen to you, but it doesn't mean we have to act on it. So that tells me, hey, she wants to stand her ground. But guess what? You know, we have a group of 20 million strong behind us and all kinds of different organizations throughout the world, people from all over the place. Like Catherine Albrecht told me, you put a little bit of fire underneath them, they're going to stop. She goes, so let's light this fire. Okay. I had to give my hats off, my thanks to Catherine Albrecht, Katie Deloy.
Yeah, she's done a lot of very good work on this, and she has put pressure on specific companies. She's followed them, and she could do the same for these public institutions.
Absolutely. Liz McIntyre, all of them. They have single-handedly put them back by at least 10 years by all these protests that they've been doing throughout the United States and England and all over the world. You know, and I'm proud to be part of that. And, you know, these people need to understand you cannot mandate to a free society what people have to do. You cannot just say, hey, you're going to wear it and you're going to like it. You can't. We are the United States of America. We are a free nation. We're supposed to be a free nation. We are not United States of Northside Independent School District. They are not a government. And even if they were a government, they cannot tell us we have to wear chips, that they can track us anytime they like. It's enough that they're tracking us with our credit cards, our cell phones, our phone bills. There's some things you can't get around, but this I can get around. This I would say no to. My daughter's not going to wear this badge. This badge was okay. even though it has barcodes on it and has a little scanning thingamabob on the back. But this one is no good. I don't like it. It has 2 batteries and it has a chip right here. It never turns off. And with that being said, she will never wear it. My son will not wear it when and if it comes to his school.
I mean, we're talking about the privacy concerns, which are the big things, but there's also the environmental pollution. Are these devices safe to even wear next to the heart in different parts of the body? There's been a lot of stuff brought out on different Wi-Fi signals, and this is becoming a problem.
Yeah, it emits a radiation cloud around the body.
Yeah.
Up to 70 feet in diameter, I believe they were saying. So anybody can drive by with an RFID scanner and get your information. Okay. Northside Independent School Districts likes to say, hey, you know, in their paperwork here it says, you know, you can't scan it outside the school district, outside the school, the 4 walls of the school. It's not true.
Except they're telling every student to go home with it and show up with it first thing in the morning.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And we walk home. A lot of my friends, they live right down the street from the school. They walk home. I walk home, and I walk pretty far home. And the fact that somebody could pick up my signal while I'll be waiting for the cars to pass scares me, and that is extremely frightening.
It really should. But what kind of message are they sending to the students in the first place that you must accept this? Trying to tell parents with that same hoax they use on the vaccine issue that this is not a negotiable issue. Somehow, just because it's a state government authority, we could just tell you what you're going to do.
Now,
I mean, what kind of kids are we training for the future?
They're trying to condition the kids. They're trying. That's how all of these governmental bodies start. They start with the kids. Let's start with the kids. We condition the children to think it's okay and it's normal to be tracked.
I don't mean to be inflammatory. Hitler said that. He said, get the children, get the women, then you get the whole society.
Exactly. And he knew what he was doing. That's why he did what he did.
Yeah.
You know, you always start with the children. Why? Because they know that's the most sensitive part of a parent's heart. You grab that kid, and that parent's going to go along with it. You grab that spouse, that other one's going to go along with it. But guess what? In Hernandez family, that's not going to happen. My family would much rather be persecuted, and if we have to die for our cause, but guess what? It's not our cause. We're dying for our Lord Jesus Christ, God Almighty. I would rather reap my rewards in heaven than reap them here on earth.
And we're supposed to fight back against tyranny. It's in the Bible. You're not supposed to lay around waiting for the apocalypse to happen. You're supposed to be doing what's right and standing up for what's right.
Well, absolutely. You know, if you don't stand for something, then what are you really doing? You're just existing and going through life?
Yeah, doing what you're told.
You got to stand for something.
Yeah.
Got to stand for something. And I keep telling everybody, I can't believe I'm here in this situation at this part in my life. I stood up 2 weeks ago and said no. My daughter said no.
Yeah.
You know, in her school, they're actually bribing the children with candies and gifts to wear it around their necks.
Mm-hmm. I have a class period, my 3rd period, the teacher, she was standing outside the door with a big old bucket of candy, and the kids that had already had their IDs on, she gave them candy, and I was like, where'd you guys get the candy? How come I didn't get one? They go, oh, she's giving them out if you have your ID. And I was like, what? They go, yeah. She said if we wear them around our neck, we get the candy. And I was like, are you serious? And then, you know, they're like, oh, you're going to get in trouble. You'll lose your position on your extracurricular activities like football and cheer and pep and stuff like that. Those coaches are saying that you must wear them and they must be visible at all times. And, you know, it's making it hard even to go to the restroom now because you have to have it on in the hallways. That way we know who you are. If you want to know who I am, get to know me, sit down with me and talk with me. Don't put a badge on me.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to a name and a face and getting to know people? But the other thing, too, they're trying to control you through peer pressure at a time when you're growing up, you're trying to figure out who you are, you're trying to meet other people, make friends, and that's what's going to get noticed, the fact you're an individual, that you're strong enough to stand up for yourself. You're the kind of person people want to get to know and respect in the community. People who just go along with whatever they're told to do, well, that's pretty uninteresting, really.
Yeah, and you know, I get a lot of people who are supposed to be friends or supposed to be people that are on my side at all times, and then yet when this issue gets brought up, oh, I don't talk to you, or, you know, just swear, dude, it's not a big deal. But the thing it's a really big deal, and, you know, students need to understand that. They need to open their eyes because Northside is just saying, oh, it's not dangerous, it's not, you know, it's not a big deal. And yet they track you at school, and they tell you, oh, I don't track you on the bus, but they do. I asked my bus driver, and I said, sir, what is this little thing above your window? He goes, oh, that's for the home project. And I was like, what home project? And he's like, oh, your badges? And I was like, the new ones? He goes, yep. that's what it's for. So now they track me on my bus ride home, and, you know,
I'm sorry, you have to scan this when you get on the school bus?
No, it picks up the signal just like it does at the school. It picks up the signal and lets you know who's on the bus.
Wow. I mean, really dangerous. All sold in the name of safety, but it's completely hijackable and exploitable by the wrong person in authority, just like everything.
Absolutely. You know, I'd like to know how this makes anybody any safer.
This is a centralized system. Our government was set up on a balance of powers, knowing that bad people are going to get into power, and it's better for them to fight amongst each other than to give all the power to one person.
And this is exactly what they've done, sir. They have given all the power to the school district and a handful of police officers who can watch this at all times. Okay? They have people thinking, hey, in case of a fire, this would be great. I don't understand. How is it going to be great? Because growing up, and even to this day, everybody has fire drills at school anyways, right? So we all know how to get out of the school.
Yeah.
What about the poor guy who's sitting in there trying to find the last person with a badge? Let's say, for instance, that kid decided, well, I'm going to put my badge over here in the bathroom.
Because it's time to get out of here. I don't have time to grab that badge.
Exactly. So they're doing this for money, and they're doing this for power. It costs $525,000 to implement this program in only 2 schools. In only 2 schools. It costs $136,000 a year to run that program. Now take those numbers and multiply it by the other 110 schools. And then take that number, 136,000, and multiply that by those schools. It's astronomical. Where are they coming up with the money? And what people don't understand, it's our tax dollars that are going to this program.
But they want to fire teachers.
But they want to get rid of teachers. They don't have chairs for psych classes. They don't have books. There's some teachers printing books for students off their printers because they don't have money for books. But yet they have $525,000 to implement a program that nobody wants?
It's really creepy. So what do you think is the best way to get other parents to recognize the danger, other students to realize this isn't such a good idea? How do we start to say no to this, to have the courage to stand up and realize the school is not the ultimate authority? I mean, you've made a big stand already, but have you seen other people supporting you, or are they all just skeptical of what you're doing?
There's a few that support me. I heard about one kid who actually zapped his badge, put it in the microwave, and boop, zapped it. You know, so I was like, okay, you know, at least, you know, somebody agrees with me. But I have a bunch of kids who are just like, you know, whatever. And I was like, no, it's not whatever. It's invasion of your privacy. And a lot of people are like, well, I'm a Christian. And a kid actually told me the other day, he goes, well, why are you doing this? And I was like, because, you know, you're stepping on my religious beliefs. He goes, well, what religion are you? And I was like, well, you know, I'm a Christian. He goes, well, I'm sort of a Christian. And the first thing that pops in my head is like, how can you be sort of a Christian? You either are or you aren't. It's simple as that. And I was like, well, look, you know, this is, you know, the implementing of the mark of the beast. And he goes, this is a badge, just wear it. And I looked at him and I was like, okay, if you want to wear your badge, that's fine. But as for me, I will not wear my badge. And I turned around and left him alone.
Well, you understand the larger picture of what's going on. I mean, you're in the engineering department, you're studying for that kind of studies. You obviously know what's in the Bible, know what your religion is. But these people guaranteed can't read their literature books they're assigned, aren't reading the Bible, have no idea what's in these verses. And it's very sad, but we've got to help wake people up and nudge them back to the fact that information is how you empower yourself.
Yeah.
Information is knowledge. Okay. Yeah. A lot of these people are scared. They don't want to stand up for themselves. They're afraid, oh, if I don't do this or tell my child not to do this, we're going to be in so much trouble. But all you got to do is look at us. We're not in trouble. Okay? So for those who are misinformed, we have to find a way to inform them. And how do we do that? By these position papers that we presented to the board or trustees. This position paper states why these things should not be used. And if you're going to use them, what you need to do. Okay? We've been handing out flyers, position papers. We've been talking to people. We've got websites coming up. The kids have a Facebook that they put up, Gabby and my daughter, Andrea. Gabby is another student from Marshall High School who stood up with her mom, who used to teach in NISD for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And she stood up and she says, I used to be a teacher, a substitute teacher as well, and I disagree with this. And her daughter stood up and said, hey, my name is Gabby. I'm not number whatever her number is, okay?
Exactly.
So how do we get people informed? By doing what we're doing today. We come on shows like this. We go on the internet. We go on radio talk shows. We hand out information. We just talk to people. You know, we're getting to the point where we're getting ready to start knocking on doors in our community. But, you know, we're inviting everybody to go to NISD website, contact Brian T. Woods and the Board of Trustees, and tell them what your objection is. We object to this. We don't want it. If you go to WOAI Channel 4, their poll shows that 71% of people believe this is an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
But those 71% of the people need to get up and say, hey, Mr. Brian T. Woods, we don't want this. We're done with it. I am not afraid to stand up for my civil liberties, my religious freedom, and the protection of my children.
And we better not be, because they're going to keep going and keep going and keep going. Now, specifically, we ought to contact the people locally at your schools in San Antonio, because that's where they're trying to roll it out and get a stronghold. But people all across the nation, this is a national and global show, they need to preemptively contact their school districts and tell them not to even consider this, because it's dangerous, it's costly, as you pointed out, and it's really a destructive force against our privacy and our individual rights. And that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line. It's an invasion of privacy. But my first and foremost fight is religious belief. It's my religious freedom, my kids' religious freedom. I'm not going to condemn my children to the pit because NISD wants them to wear a chip. My daughter stood up and she told them at the board, she told the board, and she says, I am not going to compromise my freedom for NISD. And it's online right now. You can watch it. It should be on spychips.com. And it's there. And I'm going to tell you what, we're going to fight this. This is not just the end. This is the beginning. We're going to put an end to this, no matter what. But our goal as a family and as a community, and everybody who does support us, we are putting out information. You see a bunch of papers here in front of you because we're bringing information to you, and it's the same information we're giving out to the people. I mean, we have great support. We have almost 15 different organizations around the world, and you know, from Caspian to we are Change San Antonio, we're Change Texas Hill Country. I mean, we have Matthew Medina, we have Catherine Albrecht, Liz McIntyre, all these people, Katie Deloise. Katie came to my house and spent the weekend with us to help us put this protest together. She took time out of her schedule and her children and her family to come to be with us. I mean, I am grateful, and I have to tell everybody, and this is my opportunity to give thanks to a good friend of mine named Bobby Scott. If it wasn't for Bobby Scott, I wouldn't be here today. Because I was at work, my phone was ringing, I couldn't get to it, and I'm not supposed to have my phone at work. And at break time, I went and checked. He'd called me 6 times. So I decided I'd call him. And I said, what's going on? He said, hey, dude, I called you a couple hours ago because you need a guy on the radio right now. They're talking about you. And I'm asking him, you know, what are they talking about? Because they're talking about you and these chips. You need to contact this lady named Katie somebody. And so I went on that particular radio station's website, contacted Katie Deloise. The very next day, I got a phone call, and here I am 2 weeks later right here in Austin, Texas, with you folks. And we have to tell you thank you. You guys are wonderful.
We appreciate y'all standing up and coming out and speaking out, because everyone's against the issue who knows about these larger political issues. How could you not be? But to have a focal point of, you know, someone inside the school system standing up, it's so powerful, because that's where the pressure really falls on them. And these companies who put out the RFID, they can be financially hurt, they could be bankrupted. It's happened. Oh, there'll be private funders and people giving them endless grants later, but still, we could back them off and eventually defeat the system, and this is a great way to start. Did you want to give out that Facebook, because you mentioned that, where you're trying to rally people?
Go ahead, honey.
Our Facebook page, the one that me and Gabby created, is called Students Against RFID Tracking, and that is our Facebook page, and you can go and like, and we have videos and pictures and links to Spy Chips and all these other organizations and stuff that people need to see so they can be more informed.
Great. We hope people check that out. And are y'all doing on-the-street protests or anything like that?
Yeah, we had done one in front of Anson Jones the first day of school. We did it again, did it twice. Then we did one about a week ago at NISD, the Northside Independent School District district office, the superintendent's office. Then we went inside, and it was Citizens to be Heard, and there was about 6 or 7 of us that stood up and voiced our concerns. We had teachers, we had people from different organizations. And I stood up, my daughter stood up, and Gabby. So a lot of things came out of that, but we were planning to hold another one. I believe it's going to be on the 25th. I think it's every second Tuesday of the month. They have a Citizens to be Heard. So we're hoping to get hundreds of people to show up out there in support of this. And a lot of things have come out of this, and I've had a couple of people approach me to see if I wanted to run for office after this. So, you know, I was asked if I wanted to run for mayor or city council, and that's something that I would love to do. But right now, in order to get that part, I need to kick this in the pants.
Win this battle.
And I guarantee, and I promise you right here, we're going to win this battle, because of folks like you who are standing behind us saying, hey, let us help you put your word out. That's what we're here for. You know, and folks like you are helping us. I think it's going to really just make this thing just so much more explosive.
Well, I mean, we're human beings. We don't need no stinking badges.
That's right. We don't need no stinking badges. Yes, sir.
I just want to read this quote real quick, and then we'll close out. I'll get your response to it. This is from Carol Quigley, 1966. Do you have the quote in there, guys? I just want to read this because this system has been coming for a long time. And Carol Quigley writes on page 866, in general, freedom and choice will be controlled within very narrow alternatives by the fact that he will be numbered from birth and followed as a number through his educational training, his required military and other public service, his tax contributions, his health and medical requirements, his final retirement and death benefits. This is a government system. This is a control grid interlinked with the big corporations who see us as inventory. They don't see us as human beings. And they have plans to literally control us from cradle to grave, and RFID tracking technology plays a huge role in that. It's so scary, all the more because they've been planning it for so long. What's your reaction to that, Steve and Andrea?
Well, you know, the fact that they said in the quote that all throughout the education, they're only starting in middle school and high school because they haven't been able to, you know, do anything else to the elementary kids. I mean, they're little kids, you know, what are they going to do? Are they going to go skip school? No, you know, they're little, they're going to go do their education.
Right.
You know, and in high school and middle school, I understand there's a little bit more of a rebellion kind of thing. But for the most part, majority, they do go to school, they do learn, and they do take their tests and their quizzes and all that stuff. And in fact, they do want to put it in the elementaries where it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary in all the schools, but they want to put it in, and it's, you know, ridiculous to a point where I wish I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours and tell people that, you know, there's so much more to this than just a badge. It's not just a chip or anything. It's a lot bigger, you know. People can find you with this stuff, and you don't even need to know anything about the person. If there's a sexual predator out there, they can find you just because the thing emits a signal, you know, because they have no boundaries, they have no respect, and they have nothing. So they don't mind spending $200 off of eBay of all the places, to go get an RFID scanner that can pick you up, you know, when you walk home from school, like me and a bunch of friends do. Boop, there you go, I got her. You know, she'll walk home alone tomorrow, and I can follow her home.
And so creepy, and who's going to protect against that?
Yeah, and it's all alone, you know. I'm at the point in time where I'm coming home, and everybody's at work, or they're barely coming home, and all the kids are already home because I get home later than everybody else. And, you know, I walk all by myself, all on this real big street. Nobody out there to protect me but myself.
And that quote in that book is absolutely correct. At birth, what do we get? A Social Security number. Okay. When you go into school, you get an ID badge. And on this ID badge is your student ID. Okay. You get in a checking account, you have a number assigned to you. Okay. When we're born, we have a name assigned to us. Now it's looking like we don't need names no more. We just need numbers. Okay? When you die, your name goes with you to the grave, but your number is still out there because they know that you're dead. They say, okay, number so-and-so is now gone. Yeah, it's absolutely correct. They track you from the cradle to the grave and in between. And that's the way it is. We are no longer people. We are products. But guess what? Stephen Hernandez, Andrea Hernandez, Vincent Hernandez, we are not products. I tell you what, we are products. We are products of the Lord Jesus Christ, God Almighty. We are His children. And if we stand for God, He'll stand for us. For if God stands for you, then who can stand against you? Greater is He that is in you than he that is in the world. Many people don't understand what that means. What that means is God is great. If He's inside you, if He's your Lord God, your Savior, and He can protect you no matter where you go. He that is in the world refers to the devil, or people who are worldly, who want the worldly possessions right here, right now. Guess what? Your gift is greater in heaven than it is on earth. You see Hollywood and actors and sports guys, and man, they all living the great life. But not one has opened the Bible to read it. Not if they have, they don't live by it. I'm not saying that we're a perfect family. We all have our faults.
Right.
But I tell you what, my fault is standing up with what is right. This, sort of okay with. This, I'm not. And my family, my children will not wear this. And I ask everybody out there watching this show today, please support us. Go to those websites, call that school district, send out emails. Whatever you got to do to help us, we would appreciate it. We're asking for help. That's why we're here today, to tell our story. We want that help. We want people to come out and support us in drones. We want hundreds of people to come out there, because it would make our plight greater and make our stance known more. I'm here today to ask for everybody's help, and I want to give thanks to, once again, to my friend Bobby Scott out there. I can't thank him enough. Catherine Albrecht, Liz McIntyre, Katie, Matt Medina, Chris, Steve, every person, Alex Jones. I tell you what, every guy that's in the studio today, you guys are all been wonderful, and God bless you all, and we're just asking for help. So if there's anybody out there, feel free to go to those websites. Feel free to come visit at NISD, and let's make our voices heard.
Thanks so much for coming out. Bless you, too.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Glad you're standing up, Andrea. Thanks a lot, Vincent. And we'll be back after this with more on the InfoWars Nightly News.
Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com None Dare Call a Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, You in Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.